been in a crabby mood from this big belly, and putting on shoes is even difficult these last couple of days. So I felt like I wanted a hot chocolate. I don't know. Maybe that's childish. I don't know. Anywho, welcome back. My name is Ariel, and today we're doing a studio tour. I am so grateful and so lucky to have this space. My husband made sure that we always had a good space for me to create in any place that we've ever lived. This is the biggest space I've ever had by far. Actually, a shared hobby space. This half and a little bit of this side, most of it is mine. And then that kind of corner slash half is his. It's a great space, and I'm so excited to show you guys. Oh, and I don't want to forget to mention that we're going to do a giveaway in this video. I'm looking to give away this little painting of a frog. I think he's so cute. If you're interested in winning this frog, we're celebrating 1,000 followers over on Instagram. So stay tuned to the end to find out how to enter. Well, wouldn't you know it, as soon as I sat down to film, little man woke up from his nap. Woke up like an hour early, actually. He's going to be in the background, just moseying around, enjoying the studio. So sorry if you hear a little baby in the background. Okay, so we'll start at the beginning. This is the door where you come in, and we're starting with a mini fridge, which I'll get to that in a second. But essentially, this whole room is just a bonus room above our garage. And it's the biggest space that I've ever gotten to work in as far as studio space goes. I started in my parents' basement with just like a cassette tape cabinet that I found at Goodwill. And then ever since I moved in with my husband in college, he's always made sure I had a space to work, whether it was the basement of our first place in college or it was a room in our first apartment together. And at our last house, it was another bedroom that we decorated and he helped me set up. It was so pretty. And now we have this space. So the mini fridge was a gift that I got from my husband. I filled it up with all his favorite snacks and drinks for when he's gaming so that he has this little corner that is all for him. And it's worked out really nicely for us. I love sharing this space with him. He's got the TV, the couch, the little table, everything nice and comfy for him. And then the really neat thing about this TV, which my husband probably is screaming, "I told you so" at the screen right now, is that it swivels, it moves out, and he can face it towards the couch to game, or I can face it towards myself for art. Okay, so moving on, in this area of my studio, I just have a few floating shelves and some bins that kind of hold miscellaneous things, and mostly art books. I have a lot of books from college courses, but also from my dad specifically. He gave me most of these books. He was on a job where this woman who had a lot of art supplies that she was getting rid of didn't really know what to do with it, so she gave it to my dad because my dad knew he could give it to me, and I've had them since. So there's watercolor books, there's painting books in general, drawing books, anatomy books, all kinds of books. Up here I also have like a little casting that I made of my son's foot, and then that's just a ceramic bust, essentially, of my own face. I am not a 3D artist, but in college I had to take a ceramics course and a sculpture course, so I made that. I thought it turned out all right. I was kind of proud of it, so I kept it for many years. On this next shelf, I have kind of like an ode to my dad. I never really intended for this area to exist. It kind of came together by accident. But the Buddha sculpture he gave me many, many years ago, and I've just always had that in my studio space. And then the Bob Ross mints he gave me as well. I've mentioned in past videos that he always used to give me just little Bob Ross trinkets. He thought they were fun. He also had this thing for loving dandelion tea and like its healing properties, and he talked about it a lot. So I found this little dandelion like floating in space, and I decided to get it. It just reminded me of him. And the last thing on here is this paint fan. My dad was an interior exterior painter, and so I just grew up seeing these everywhere, and it's just a bunch of little stuff that reminds me of him. So down here in these bins, it's kind of just miscellaneous stuff. The first thing I got are these drop cloths. Also got them from my dad. He's given me, like I said, a lot of stuff. It's really nice. And some more books, some books that I use for reference photos. Sometimes I keep my tripod in here. More art books in this case. And then in here, I've got some sheets that I use as a backdrop, pieces to my easel, and some stuff for my Cricut here. I've got the Cricut Maker, I believe. Yeah, the Maker. It's really sad. I don't even know which one it is. Why? Because I've been terrified to try it. My parents got this for me as a Christmas gift, and I have yet to figure out how to actually use it. This right here is an amazing cabinet, and I did not buy it. These are incredibly expensive. I think like $2 or $3 grand, honestly. But I got really lucky because my dad on a job found somebody who was getting rid of one, and he quickly snatched it up for me so that I could have it for all of my studio spaces. Moving over to this area of my studio, I've kind of divided this half into two more halves. I've got my desk area where I do more sitting work, sketchbook work. And in this area, clearly it is my painting area. It's where I have my easel. It's where I have my brushes. And I've got this cart, which I absolutely love. My in-laws actually gifted this to me, which was super exciting. And it makes it such an efficient workspace. I can have pretty much everything out. And my paints are all organized and I don't have to go digging around for stuff. I just have to fill up a glass of water and I'm ready to go. So this is not the best organized setup, but it's kind of just the only place I can find to put it right now. This is not a stay wet palette, but just like a paint saver. I can put the lid on top if I'm working with acrylics and it will keep my paint from drying out. I've got my paper cutter, so if I were cutting prints, which I've never made a print before, but one day I hope to, or if I've got paper like this that's much larger and I want to cut it down to size, I use it for that. This is just one of those filming gear items. I actually don't recommend this, so we're not even going to bother talking about it. Down here, I have a very unorganized pile of mediums and acrylic paints. It's usually really pretty and organized, but anytime I bring my son in here, he goes through everything, so I've just given up on trying to keep it organized. But I've got things like varnishes, mixing mediums, acrylic paints. This is that spray paint, for example, that I use on the big drawers, on the drawer handles. Just kind of a random mix of stuff. Some masking fluid, and all of my watercolors. I've been on a huge gouache train lately, but I used to be a very avid acrylic painter, and so these drawers... Sorry again, my son's going through those watercolor paints right now. I just gave them to him to keep him distracted. Anyways, all my acrylic paints are in these drawers along with a couple extra watercolor pans, but I've got like my whites and blacks up here, a couple silvers. My neutrals, so I've got like golds, browns, beiges, things like that. Watercolor pans, India ink. Again, this is just real life, guys. Having a baby and trying to do art. He goes through a lot of my stuff. It usually is very aesthetic and pretty and well organized. But with him in here, he's going through the drawers. I don't really tell him no, as long as he's not getting into anything dangerous. So it's kind of a mess. In these bigger drawers, I have my warm colors. Usually, again, things are kind of mixed up. And then up here, I have my cool colors. But everything is definitely all acrylic or watercolor based over here. This corner makes absolutely no sense. It's basically just, I don't know what to do with it corner. I have a lot of old art for a reel that I was wanting to make, just showing some of my old stuff, my old portfolio. I've got a lot of cardboard that I use to back some of my work if I ever do shows. This big glass piece that I used to mix paint on, but I really don't like doing it because it's got a blue tint, so I really should get rid of the glass. It's just been sitting there. But it's such a nice big piece of glass that I feel guilty getting rid of it, so probably going to put that on Facebook so somebody could at least just have it. Here I've got some frames, some chipboard, again, for packaging art. I don't sell a ton of artwork right now, but when I do, I like to make sure it has a good backing on it so that it doesn't get bent while it's shipping. All of my brushes are pretty much thrifted. I've bought maybe like 10 to 15 brushes over the years. Once again, most of them are from my dad. So I've got a really strange mixed bag of brushes, and they're not really organized by type because they don't really have enough of each type. I feel like most of these brushes are ironically oil brushes, which I don't oil paint. I want to learn, but that's just kind of where I'm at. I use them for acrylic anyways, even though it's probably not the correct brush, but they work great. Behind here, I've just got a pile of canvas. They're not the nicest canvas, but it's just like stuff I like to practice on, things that I'm not so precious about when I'm working. I've also got a trash can back here, and I've got a bag full of, those are actually burp rags, but they work really well if you want to use them for drying off your brushes. And I had so many burp rags to begin with that I was like, I should just use these here because I didn't need so many in our baby's room. And then, of course, right next to it, I've got my easel. This easel was a gift from my husband for my birthday last year. Most everything amazing that I have was a gift. I'm so lucky to have a very supportive family that buys me things for my studio and buys me art supplies or finds it and thrifts it. Honestly, I don't think I would have nearly as nice of a studio if I didn't have all these generous people in my life. But my easel, yeah, I absolutely love it. It works great. I can fit pretty much anything on it. And I can even lay it flat. So if I were working on a drawing or I didn't want paint to drip, This easel can do it all. And then over here is the space that most of you, especially if you follow me on Instagram, see all the time. This is my desk. This is where I do a lot of my art right now because I've been doing a lot of sketchbook work. This is where I edit my videos, where I film my reels. This is where I do most everything right now. Okay, so moving over here, I've got this cart. It kind of moves all over the room. I use it a lot for filming. I've got this gooseneck kind of tripod on here that I use a lot for filming reels so I can get really close to whatever it is that I'm working on. And it's got a lot of extra cords on it, some paint palettes, and at the bottom a lot of paintings that I used to have hung on the wall. This room actually used to be gray. My husband and I painted it white so it'd be a lot brighter in here. And I just haven't gotten back around to hanging up any artwork, so I gotta do that. Okay, so here I've got a really nice table clamp kind of light. Again, a gift from my husband for a past birthday. I think actually he might have just bought this one just because he's just a sweetheart like that. But it's really nice because it opens up. I can adjust the temperature on it. I can adjust the brightness. I can bring it really, really low actually to the table if I wanted to. Sometimes I've balanced my phone on it for getting an overshot view when I'm filming reels. Then behind that cart is the desk. And I just moved the tripod out of the way so you guys can kind of see how large it is and the space that I'm working with. It's so nice. This is a 9x12 sketchbook. I really liked this desk because it was so deep and I could put large pieces of paper or canvas on here if I wanted to. I wasn't limited to just tiny little pieces of work. I can link it below. Yeah, I got this desk on Amazon, so I can link it below if anyone's interested, but I think it's an amazing desk. I love the shape of it. Unfortunately, I don't think you can get it in just one long piece. I think they only sell the L, but you'll have to check out the listing and see what they've got. And I cleaned this space up a little bit for you guys, but I didn't want it to be like too perfect because that's not very realistic to my workspace. It's usually got stuff all over it. I keep it relatively clean just so I can come in and easily start. Again, wanting to keep efficient. Don't want to waste time cleaning up every time I'm about to start painting, especially when you got to consider that you're filming most of the time that you're painting in today's day and age. But there's not a lot of shelving in here. So yeah, a lot of this stuff just sits on my desk. I am a chronic leave paint on my paint palettes kind of person. So that's what I got here. Most of them are the Hemi gouache paints. So they just rinse off when you add water. I've got my paints here, my sketchbook with my binder clip for holding the pages open, and my hair clip so my hair doesn't get in our videos. So I usually keep those two things up here. I've always got my acrylic gouache. These are from Holbein as well, sitting right here in case that's what I'm in the mood to use. My apologies. I had to stop filming at that point because little man was getting a little grumpy and wanted my one-on-one attention, and I definitely couldn't deny that from him. So I did a little bit of B-roll filming for you guys at night to show you the rest of my desk. Okay, so these drawers I'll have linked below. I forget what they're called, but I use them to house my colored pencils. I have those organized by color. And then in this drawer, I have my drawing pencils. They go from bold to hard to mechanical. All my erasers, a few more kneaded erasers and mechanical pencils. Below that, I have all of my blending stumps and apparently an eraser that's supposed to be in this drawer. Below that, I have charcoal pencils. I really don't use these very much, and a few ebony pencils. And then in the second to last drawer, I've got my Posca markers, jelly pens, acrylic pens, and all of my fine liners, my micron pens. And the very last drawer, I have a few pieces of Conte, some charcoal, and some ballpoint pens, both black and colorful. For what I would consider the last part of my studio are these white drawers. The first two are pretty miscellaneous. It's got some PS5 stuff in it, cords, drying mats. Randomly in there are some black and white Conte sticks, I guess. In the second drawer, just as random, I've got some oil pastels and chalk pastels, some graphite paper, an iPad case. And then in the next two drawers, I have tons of canvas. Guess who gave them to me? It was Dad. He thrifted them. Go Dad. So tons of canvas. Can always practice. It's really nice having a lot of that around. In the second to last drawer, I have some sanding blocks, a couple of tools, a wood burning kit, because I thought I might want that someday. Never used it. And in the last drawer, embarrassingly dirty, this is what I would have called my packaging drawer. I've also got random adhesives, but I had like thank you stickers, envelopes, some twine, things that on the few occasions I've had art actually ordered, I used to make the packaging really pretty. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed the studio tour. Sorry, I'm filming in my car. I'm currently picking up groceries. This is just when I had time to quickly film this outro. But let's talk about that giveaway. So I'm going to be giving away the 5x7 frog acrylic painting. It's to celebrate 1,000 followers over on Instagram. So thank you guys so much if you're already following me there. You guys helped me get there really fast. I'm so excited. And here's what you got to do to enter. I'm going to need you to subscribe to this page as well as be following me over on Instagram and like this video. And then 3, make sure to leave a comment below and just leave something silly like, what's your favorite color? Let's go with that. What's your favorite color? I would love to know that. And then if you want any bonus entries, you can go over to my Instagram and share either this video or the post that I've made on your story, and I will be adding 5 bonus entries to your entry. Said the word entry a lot. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll leave the directions in the comments just to make sure it all makes sense. But yay, thanks for watching and can't wait to announce the winner. Bye.